Hey everyone. I just wanted to add this quick little message because I didn't want Donald Bates to think that I forgot about him and his conspiracy to deprive me of my rights through the color of law action that they committed. Not only initially through the court process, though I'm not sure if Donald Bates was necessarily a part of um, the court case, but he was part of the withholding of the property unlawfully, mind you, uh, refusing to release the property because of this document, this fraudulent affidavit that Michael Hughes passed off to Donald Bates eventually. Took about 2 years for them to finally get their act together and at least get the paperwork ready enough so that way the my trustee could go pick up the property. So it took them 2 years to figure out what to do, and in all that time, they couldn't bother to look up the definition of an affidavit or an affiant or make sure that they were passing true and honest, honorable paperwork. What they did was committed fraud, and in doing so, they conspired. The at the county level, you got the uh, assistant prosecutor at the county level at the prosecutor's office, and then you have the uh, quote unquote police officer, uh, Donald Bates, at the municipal level. So here is evidence right in your faces of conspiracy to deprive people of their rights, namely me, uh, between the county and the municipality, ignoring their own crimes and holding me to a higher standard than they're willing to hold themselves to. Even after noticing Michael Hughes' boss, Ronald Welch, um, about the situation, uh, directing him to the evidence and so forth. Isn't it amazing that Michael Hughes is still working for Ronald Welch? So that shows a further conspiracy because, quite frankly, with the evidence that I have and the admission of guilt from the parties involved, they should have been arrested immediately. Uh, Charges should have been filed against them for violating their oaths of office, the duties and obligations, and the Constitution and laws that bind them, as I've been outlining here in this channel, or excuse me, on this channel, in my dissertations about it, and learning about the differences. I think many of you are all aware, but if you're not, I know some low IQ people still like to make rude comments, which just shows their ignorance and their stupidity because I never claimed to be an expert. I've mentioned multiple times that this is a learning process for me, and I've been forced to walk through this with no real choice other than to just accept it, which I can't do morally. So I've been put in a position that I can't accept, period, because of the unlawful nature of these people's activity, namely at the county level, Muskingum County, and the municipality, Zanesville. Even though the bosses, the principals, if you will, are being notified of their underlings' criminal activity, there really seems to be no accountability. And so this criminal activity continues to go on. And what concerns me is at some point, if they continue to go down this road, not just Muskingum County and Zanesville, but all municipalities, all counties, all states, if they continue to go down this road by ignoring their own malfeasance, their own crimes, and holding we the people to a much higher standard in an attempt to what I can only presume to be circumventing the Constitution and our God-given rights in a way to not only strip us of our ability to protect ourselves, but from our ability to protect our country. Um, Whatever that means to you, it could mean different things to you than it does to me. But this is something that I've sacrificed for. This is something that I've fought for. Um, and I think too many people are willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And just think that it's a broken system and it can't be fixed and such and such and such. But in fact, that's just ignorance and laziness speaking, because the system isn't broken. It's been misused and abused. But the system would work if people would hold themselves and their colleagues and others to the standards prescribed by the quote-unquote system. So as I'm telling you this, it should be apparent to you that based on my experience and what I've outlined here, this conspiracy within the government to deprive people of their rights, that should be a serious concern. But instead, we've got people worried about, all this nonsense. I mean, I guess it's safe to say possibly the reason that I'm not finding too many men out there is because they're too busy chopping their dicks off. For those of you that don't want to do that to yourself, mutilate yourself, want to stand up and be a man, it doesn't matter what your skin color is. You can do the right thing. I encourage you all to do the right thing, to pay attention. And, really, if you want to argue, I can argue. I can do it all day long. I'm not afraid of you. I just don't have the patience for it, because it's like dealing with just a brat with mommy and daddy issues that was never taught to be, respectful of others. These type that were never taught to, had never had parents enough to teach them how to chew with their mouth shut. I didn't have parents in my life for very long, early on in my years, but I taught myself these things. So it's part of being, in cooperation with society, with others, because if it's just what I want and I don't give a damn what you want, well, that's socialism, that's communism, that's fascism. For true freedom, we have to work together and come up with a compromise that we're both mutually, or all parties are mutually accepting of. But to force someone like me to eat a shit sandwich and accept it, you picked the wrong one. So now you're all on notice. Donald Bates, like I said, don't think I didn't. Don't think I forgot about you. It's just a shame. It's a shame that this is what we've come to, where people seem to be more focused on men and women cutting their genitalia off rather than paying attention to our rights and freedoms being stripped from us daily by the people who are supposed to protect it. In fact, many of these people swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, yet they violate it every day they walk in that or step into that uniform, because they don't know what they're doing. So just take a look. For most of you that are naysayers, the ones that are leaving the rude comments, you're probably sucking the government's dick. You're probably sucking someone in the municipality's dick. That's probably why you hate me, and that's probably why you have all these rude comments, because you got somebody's dick in your mouth, and of course you can't stand to see anybody speak ill against daddy, especially with the dick in your mouth. But just think about that. So for those of you men out there, I ask you, where the fuck is your backbone? Have you all lost it? Is there still real men out there? Because it seems like the only men willing to stand up for anything are the ones that are just willing to stand up and fight for anything rather than something that's worth fighting for. So it's up to you. It's up to each of us to choose each day whom we're going to serve and what we're going to serve. So again, I encourage you to know the truth and let the truth set you free.